So I'm starting out today's video without even really knowing the complete direction of where I'm going to go with this video. But this one is all around the video that I put out 2 days ago, Unspoken Secrets, the unspoken dark side of Diablo Immortal. Now, if you missed that video, pause right here, open up another tab and go watch it. Because this video right here is going to focus all about the discussion topics there and the discussions I have had since then. So let's start out with what was that video about in general. It was one side, one perspective of how whales or particular certain people in Diablo Immortal are breaking terms of service. I use with air quotes right there to buy accounts and have other people use them to control the right of exile inside of the game. This is the perspective that I'm getting from a Reddit post that I shared. Now, I've spoken to many people in DMs and on voice since this. I am not going to tell any names, and I'm not even going to tell specific things that we spoke of because I was asked not to, and I will never blow up people or put them in a negative situation because they were open with me and had a discussion with me. So just letting you know right now, no one's getting their name thrown out and no one is getting blown up for anything. But there are two very clear sides to this whole situation. So let's tell you how I got the idea. One, I heard when a clan family was leaving my server. They were leaving my server, the Iceburn tier, because there was a whale community, a whale clan that was filled of players that had bought accounts, right? And the clan that left was a highly competitive clan, and they couldn't compete against those players because those whale accounts were too strong, and they just didn't have enough spenders or whales inside of the game to actually be able to compete. And they would really have never found themselves being able to be victorious. So they said, this is not the server for us. We're going to go. At least some of them, right? That's how it initially came to me. About a week later, my good friend Scrappy Academy, Nemo, as you know him, he sent me that Reddit post. And he said, check this out. This was right around the topic that you were talking about. So I read the Reddit post. I'm like, this is something cool. This is worth sharing. How this whale community is being blown up for what they're doing and called out. And I literally read every single sentence and went through and gave my thoughts on it. And again, I'll say it again. I think that both sides of this conversation are fair and make good points. And I'll go over some of them from both sides. Why don't we start there? Or I guess I should say, why don't we continue there? So the less whale community, the community that has the pitchforks that's saying that they want to go after the whales because the whales are cheating inside of the game. Terms of service in Diablo Immortal say you can't buy or sell accounts. Pretty plain as day. You can't. So that means like me, I spent, I don't know, under $1,000 in Diablo Immortal. If I were to say today I'm done playing, I can't sell my account. Or I don't even think I can give my account to someone else to play. I don't think I'm even able to do that. If I did, I could be at risk of losing that account, or that account could be killed by Blizzard because it's against terms of service. But Blizzard's not doing that. We haven't seen that happening. Like, no accounts are being banned. Now, this is obviously happening with accounts that have much more of an investment inside of them, $50,000 investments into them to get themselves to like 6,000 residents. Players are then saying, I'm done. I'm not playing the game anymore. They'll go sell the account for $5,000, recoup a couple of bucks, go, do something with $5,000. Then you have players that have these $50,000 accounts that they spent $5,000 on, which is against the terms of service. You're not supposed to do that according to the official rules. Now, and as I mentioned in that previous video, I believe in this game and others, players know that this happens. I don't know if there's no way of policing it. I don't know if it's wanted to actually be policed. So that's where we sit with the pitchfork people, we'll call them, the people that are upset with the whales, that are controlling servers and deciding who could be shadows and who could be immortals, and of course controlling battlegrounds, although battlegrounds is not server specific. So my initial reaction to that is, and I've said this on every conversation I've had with people, I don't care about shadows versus immortals. I don't even like that part of the game, which is sad because it's like what Diablo Immortal was all based on. I like the idea of it. I like the lore of it. I just don't like the actual play. I don't like the gameplay of it. I think it's just not a fun part of the game. I appreciate what Blizzard put together there and how they tried to do it. I just don't love it. I do like, though, the new game mode that they make where we could do the 4v4, the MOBA style single lane battle. I like that. I just don't like it in Shadows versus Immortals. Let's take that and just make it a new PvP mode inside of the game, which it was there for a limited time, and I'm good with it. That's cool. I like that. So now let's talk about the whale's perspective. And this is where I'm going to be a little bit more careful with what I say, because people come to me and talk to me about their perspective of it, and there has to be some concern, right? They don't know me very well. Like, I've made a lot of friends who are considered whales inside of the game, who have spent tens, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars. And who am I to them? I'm just a guy that makes videos, right? And I'm not one of them. I'm not a whale. So there has to be some hesitancy on their part to come talk to me. Because one, I'm a YouTuber. They never know if I'm just sitting there recording and about to blow them up, which I would absolutely never do, by the way. But there are people that would. I'm not one of them, but they really can't be 100% comfortable that they know that, right? And two, they're talking about their reasoning behind what they do. And I'm not also saying, and I want to make this clear, every whale inside of the game is not buying and selling accounts. There are whales out there that have spent $200,000 in Diablo Immortal of their own money on one account. And that is, Blizzard's fair way to play the game. But points were brought up to me that were pretty interesting, actually. Now, Blizzard makes money from whales. They don't make money from me. Maybe a little bit. They don't make money from free-to-play players. And now let's say out of 100 players, 50 of them are free-to-play. This is my guess. There's no way of knowing. The data is not there. But I would guess that 50% are free to play. They never spend $1 in the game. I'd say you get about 45 that are light to mid spenders. Battle Pass, Boon of Plenty, that's a light spender. A mid spender will buy packs and things like that, maybe spend $100, $200 a month. And then you have the whales who will spend, whenever a new pack comes, they're buying the thing because they want to buy everything in the game, right? I'd say out of every 100 players, maybe one, maybe two is a whale. And maybe less than that, honestly. If we take it to 1,000 players, maybe 5 or 6 are actual whales. I don't know. But it's a very small percentage is what I'm trying to say. And that's where Blizzard makes their money. There's a balance that they need to have, Blizzard, as a developer, to keep whales happy, because they're paying for the game's progression, and also to keep free-to-play players happy so they have a player base, because they're 95%. Free-to-play, low spender, mid spenders are 95%. There's a reason why Diablo Immortal launched with the monetization that it launched with. And I believe that it launched with this heavy pay to win because of the way that they wanted the game to develop. There's only so much money a game can make if all you're selling is skins and gear slots. Unless if those skins are thousands of dollars, which seems insane, but it's just very difficult for them to make enough money to produce what they're producing on a monthly basis. Diablo Immortal, let's be honest here, is not your typical mobile game. It is a mobile Diablo game, for sure. But even when you compare it to other action RPG games, Diablo Immortal has so much more than all of them. Dungeon Hunter 6 just came out. Have you played it? Compare that to Diablo Immortal. And I've had people compare it because I actually had a sponsored integration in one of my most recent Diablo videos where I was promoting it. I got sponsored by the company. They paid me a few bucks, and I shared the game with the community. I also did a live stream that was not sponsored, and I played it. And you know what? It's fun. Heavy pay to win, and not as good as Diablo Immortal. So I believe when Diablo Immortal was being developed by NetEase and Blizzard, that the team that's in charge of monetization decided that this is what they needed to do for the dev team to develop the game they wanted to develop, the way that they wanted to develop it. If they were only selling skins and a battle pass, maybe. And if legendary crests were not a thing, the amount of money that the game could make would be so much less than it is now, which would tell me that the progression of the game, the amount of changes that come every month, the new game modes, the new cosmetics, a new class, the new zones, the new dungeons, we would see a fraction of it because the funding wouldn't be there to pay the people to develop it. So, for that reason, I welcome the pay to win because I want the whales to be able to spend on the game the way that they need to so that the game can continuously develop so I can enjoy it. Now, I have no problem spending money inside of games. If there's something that I feel will offer me value in Diablo Immortal, I will buy it. I will buy the Battle Pass. I'll buy the Boon of Plenty. I will sometimes buy Prodigy's Path. I will also... There was something else I was thinking I would buy too. The reason I don't spend on legendary crests excessively... Oh, I would buy Awakening of Slots. That's what it was. I'll awaken my gear slots. It's about $10 a slot. I won't buy legendary crests because no matter what, I'm not going to be able to spend as much as the top spenders will spend. And to beat the top spenders, obviously skills involved as well for sure. But to beat the top spenders, you need to spend with the top spenders, and I can't. I can't afford it. So for me, I say, screw Battlegrounds. I'm not going to compete. And I don't like Shadows versus Immortals anyway, so that's cool too. So I'm going to do Trial of the Horde. I'm going to do any of the... I'm going to do the Battle Royale mode. I'm going to do any game mode that doesn't have a pay-to-win heavy mechanic to it. And I'm going to do all the Heliquary stuff. I'm going to do the dungeons. I'm going to do the open world stuff. I'm going to do 95% of what the game has and love it for my $15 a month that I'm spending on the boon and on the battle pass. And I feel like I'm giving Blizzard more than people that bought Diablo 4 are giving them because I'm spending $15 a month while people who bought Diablo 4, let's say they got a nice one, they spent $100 and they're done. Right? I guess they could do some stuff inside of the game too, but I feel like I'm giving back to the game and I'm not just being dead weight for the game's progression. I'm contributing. Not like a whale, but I'm contributing. Of course, the reason why these games do really well are because they're free to download and free to play. You can play Diablo Immortal for 24 hours a day, 365 days a year for free. There is no limit, but you'll hit walls and you won't be able to be the best in the world. If you don't care about that, man, this is a great game. So the topic was brought up about these accounts. If you have an account that's worth $50,000 and someone quits, what are you supposed to do with that account? Does it just die? How does that affect servers? How does that affect the game overall? If these accounts just die, because you can't just say, oh, I'm going to spend $50,000 next week and get another account to that same level. Like if Chris right here decides to download Diablo Immortal and pick it up and start playing it tomorrow, he can't spend 50 grand and get just the account to the same spot. there's an excessive amount of grind that takes part in that. There's things that are held back based on progression. There's things that have to do with war. There's a lot of stuff in there that it's not just about buying legendary crests to make the account on the same level. There's other stuff as well that needs to be grinded. Normal gems, they take forever to get. They take time in the market to get them for sale when people sell them. There's a lot that goes on. It's not just about buying legendary crests to get the best legendary gems. That's part of it, but that's not all of it. So to keep the ecosystem of competitive players up, whales may feel that these accounts hold value and that they're important for the whole ecosystem of the game. So they don't want to see these accounts die. And maybe they will be given an account by a friend that says, look, I'm done playing the game. You could have my account. Is that against terms of service? I'm not sure because it wasn't sold. Is that unfair? I don't know. If I were to take my phone and give it to my kid to go play, is that unfair? I know it's different, and I know it's difficult to even say that because I'm not giving an account to multiple people, having them all in the same clan to all fight for the same cause, right? That's, I think, where some of the issue comes in with the community. I'm giving it to my son to play, and he's not as good as me, so he's gonna tank my battles anyway, right? But if I had a friend, if I have 5 friends, all who I got to know in the game, and they're all leaving. They're saying that they're done with Diablo Immortal. They're bored of it. And they've each spent $50,000 inside of the game, and I tell them, I'll give you 10%. I'll give you $5,000 an account. Then I got $5, $10, $15, $20, $25,000. And I picked up $250,000 worth of value. There's value there. And then I have 5 accounts that are worth $5,000 each. I got them for $25,000. Their value is $250,000. And I have my own account, of course. So that's 6 accounts. What am I going to do with them? Like, that's value. But what do you do with them? Do you sell them to someone that would want it? Do you give it to friends to play so the account doesn't go dead? Because remember, if you have an account and you just don't do anything with it, it just sits there, it's going to lose that grind value. You got to do dailies. You got to do all those events inside of the game. You got to be able to grind all your materials to upgrade everything. Plus, the game is progressing, so there's more progression. So if I bought 5 accounts and just put them in a locker and said, I'm going to let them sit there until my friends want their accounts back in 6 months, those accounts will then struggle because they're not going to have been kept up with the way that they should have. You have to care for it the way that you would care for your home. You know, if you don't take care of your house, it's going to get beaten up by the weather, and you're going to have to then fix things, invest time into it, excessive amounts. I know it's a stretch to talk about it that way, but that's a way that I can kind of explain it. So from the whale community's perspective, I feel like they are preserving the health of the game. Now, our pitchfork people, the people that are anti-whales or don't like what they're doing, are going to say, well, they're taking those accounts and they're using them to control the right of exile. They're using them to all go into the same clan and to fight together with all that power to then determine who's going to win. That could be true. But what's the difference if the 5 people that quit the game, what if they didn't quit the game, but they just joined their friend? And then there were those 5 people with those same accounts and the friend who bought all the accounts who actually never bought them because the friends never quit. Then they all joined the same clan and they all fought side by side. Would it be fair then? It would be, as far as fair as pay to win could be, right? Because that's an argument in itself. Is pay to win even fair? According to terms of service, that would be fair. I think this whole controversy is the best word, I think, is that the people who are losing, the pitchfork people, the ones that are upset with what the whales are doing, they're losing. They're upset that they're losing, and they've recognized that certain people in the whale community are possibly breaking the terms of service, whether that's a big deal or not. And that's being latched onto. Do I think that should be in the terms of service, that you can't buy or sell accounts? I don't know. I don't know that it's the worst thing in the world. Do I like that there could be a monopoly of the game and who's in control of what? No, I don't love that. But again, remember, I don't care about the Shadows versus Immortals, so for me, it really doesn't matter. And the more free-to-play friendly-ish modes that come to the game, the less it matters. But I just wanted to make this video saying that I do see both sides of the story. I see both perspectives. And I've had some people reach out to me that were upset that I made that video because it was only showing one side. And I had some people reach out to me that were really grateful that I shared that side of the story and appreciative. I also recognize that it's impossible to make everyone happy and that my job here is to just bring things to light. So I saw an opportunity to talk about essentially something happening in the community that people don't talk about. Let's be honest, guys. There's not a lot of people making videos in this game. Not a lot at all. So when I see an opportunity to bring something to light that's in a fair way, I don't think there's anything wrong with me doing that. Now, keep in mind, I'm a casual player myself. I don't play at the highest of levels. I am not the most min-maxed person inside of the game. I just play for fun, and I want to provide a space here for both sides. To be fair and to be honest, I have extended my olive branch. I've never used that term before in my life, but I've extended my arms to the whale community, and I have welcomed any of them to come on, to have a discussion, to have an interview, or even to share builds, share some of the builds that they're using inside of the game. And this is another extension of that. If there's anyone that is a massive spender in the game, maybe even part of what I've been talking about right now, and they would want to come and join, even if it was just on voice without a camera, I'd love to do an interview because I would love to hear that perspective. And I've heard it. But you haven't heard it because I was asked to not share, and I will respect that. I had another point that I wanted to make, and I think I'm drawing a blank on it right now. But as I said, I do think that both sides have their good points. And, I remember my point. The whale community, a lot of people think they just pay to win. They are hella serious about this game. They're hella passionate about the game. They love the game. They spend on the game because they love the game. And they want to be the best. And they want to fight against the best. That's something that I've learned. I've been in some discussion places with them for about a month now. And I am there with them in the chats. They've welcomed me in. And I'm not a whale. I feel very honored. But I see what they talk about. And they have a passion for the game. I could arguably say more than I see from people that aren't the whale community. Which would make sense. Whales, at least in this sense, are highly into it and power players. And then non-whales are more casual players. So I do see a passion there. I do see, even when I put out a build video, they will hit me up and say, look, that was good. Or hit me up and say, that wasn't good. And this is why. So it's pretty cool that even the players that are at that level are watching what I'm putting out, knowing that I'm not on that level. And I can't be, even if I wanted to be. I mean, I would love to have a $200,000 account. Who wouldn't? You would too. I just can't afford it. So I can't do that. And I'm realistic about it. which is why I'm scrapping my 5-star gems and popping in 1s and 2s, because I can have fun with it and try and make my best build at that level. But at the end of the day, my resonance is never going to be at a point where I could compete. So my follow-up to the dark side of Diablo Immortal, Unspoken Secrets, has just been had. If you missed that video, go check it out because you'll see where everything here came from. But both sides have their points. It's hard to say right and wrong. If we're going by the law, which is terms of service, then it would seem that the whales are wrong. If we're going by certain topics that make sense, there's good reason that they're doing what they're doing. And by the way, this is not just done in this game, and it's openly done in places, other games, maybe even other places within this game. And I don't know that that there will ever be bans for it, or that there should be. Maybe it should just be taken out of the terms of service for sharing accounts. In Clash of Clans, very different story, I know. By the way, that's in esports, so it's even more serious when you think about it, because people are competing for money. There's no competing for money here. This is all just casual play. There are no esports in Diablo Immortal. If you share an account in Clash of Clans, the account will be banned and you can't participate with that account in esports. Back when I was casting esports, there were many players that I personally knew that had their accounts banned because they had bought it from a friend, or because their friend gave it to them, because they were playing an account that wasn't theirs. And that game is a lot less money to max your account, and you could do it with just time and not spend money at all. So funny to see how it is. But again, it was in esports, so it had implications on people winning money, where this is just implications on who's going to be the immortal. But some people really care about that, and I respect that too. I just personally don't. All right. I feel like I wrapped this up pretty good. And as I'm saying it, I'm feeling like I'm going to just piss off another whole group of people. If I did, I'm sorry. My intention is not to get anyone upset. It's just to kind of speak my mind. And in this case, like I said, I'm kind of taking a middle ground because I see both sides. I've seen great points coming from players from the whale community, and I've seen great points coming from people from the free-to-play. I've also seen crappy points come from the whale community, and crappy points come from free-to-play as well. It's been a whole spectrum of points. But it's been fun. Had no idea that Unspoken Secrets video was going to spark so much inside of the community. And it's only sitting here with 7,000 views. Where the hell are the views for this damn game? If I'm one of the only darn guys putting out content for this game anymore, who the heck is everyone watching? Or is no one watching at all? Because, man, you can't even break 10,000 views in a video anymore. Well, I guess we did. But look at that. The video that broke 10,000 views, Dungeon Hunter 6 first look. Crazy. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. And let me know your thoughts down below. I'm sure this will spark more conversation and maybe even another follow-up. I'll see you guys in tomorrow's video.